Hello and welcome. In this tutorial, I want to go over how to solve a quadratic equation by using the quadratic formula. Recall that the quadratic formula makes use of the A term, the B term, and the C term. So we're going to apply it when we have a quadratic in standard form. After that, we can use this powerful engine and just plug in the values, and that will give us the x-intercepts. Let's begin with example number 1. So example number 1, identify each value for A, B, and C, and then solve using the quadratic formula. In order to apply the quadratic formula, I need a quadratic in standard form. And I can do this if I move the negative 8x to the left-hand side. So I'll add 8x to both sides of the equation. And on the left-hand side, I'll be left with 4x squared. And recall that we want to write the trinomial in standard form. So I'll put the 8x following the 4x squared. And I'll put the constant at the end, so plus 3. That's going to equal to, the 8x and the negative 8x are going to cancel out. So I'll have 0. Now that I have the quadratic in standard form, I can begin to identify all of the key terms. The A value is 4, the B value is 8, the C value is 3. Now I'm ready to apply the quadratic formula. So I have x equal to negative b. Well, b is going to be 8. So here I get 8 plus or minus the square root of b squared. Again, b is 8. We're going to subtract 4 ac. So a is 4, c is 3. So we got 4 times 3. We're going to divide this all by 2a. And remember that a is 4. Beginning with the simplification, we get x equal to negative 8 plus or minus the square root. And then 8 raised to the second power. That's going to be 64. And then we're going to subtract 4 times 4 times 3. So 4 times 4 is 16. And then 16 times 3 is going to give me 48. Okay, that's going to be all over 2 times 4, which is 8. Okay, now we have x equal to negative 8 plus or minus, and then 64 minus 48 is 16. Okay, this is going to be all over 8. The square root of 16, that's going to be 4. So then we are left with x equal to negative 8 plus or minus 4 all over 8. So here are my two solutions. X equal to negative 8 plus 4 divided by 8. And the second solution is going to be x equal to negative 8 minus 4 divided by 8. So I'll begin by simplifying the first one, the one on the left. So here, negative 8 plus 4, that's going to equal to negative 4. And then negative 4 over 8, we can simplify that as just negative 1/2. That's the first solution. Here on the right, the negative 8 and the negative 4, that simplifies to negative 12. So we have negative 12 over 8. And we can simplify the fraction if we divide both the numerator and the denominator by 4. Since that's the greatest common factor between the two. And we get that x is equal to negative 3/2. And those are the two solutions. Let's go over one more example. Example number 2, use the quadratic formula to solve for x. We have to give exact answers. The first thing that I'm going to do is identify the a value, the b value, and the c value. And here, the a value is going to be negative 10, the b value is going to be negative 8, and the c value is going to be positive 12. Now I can begin to use the quadratic formula by plugging in all of the required values. I'll begin to evaluate, so I'll get x equal to negative b, and b is negative 8, so I gotta put negative 8 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so negative 8 squared minus 4 multiplied by a, that's negative 10, and then multiplied by c, that's going to be positive 12. That's all going to be over 2 multiplied by a. And recall that the a value is negative 10. Next, I'll get x equal to, and the negative are going to make a positive. So I get positive 8 plus or minus the square root of negative 8 squared. That's going to be 64. And then here we have a negative 4 times a negative 10, which is going to be positive 40. And then 40 times 12 is going to be 480. So we have a positive 480. So notice how the negative times negative changed this to a plus here. Alright, for the denominator, we're going to get 2 times negative 10, which is negative 20. Let's evaluate what's inside of the radical here. So we're going to get x equal to 8 plus or minus the square root of 544. And then that's going to be all over negative 20. I'm going to simplify my radical. So I'll get 544 and begin to get its prime factorization. So 544 is the same thing as 16 multiplied by 34. The 16 is the same thing as 4 times 4, and the 34 is 2 times 17. I have my prime here. And then here the 4's, we're going to get 2 times 2, and then another pair of 2's. I have the whole prime factorization of 544, so I'm going to rewrite this as x equal to 8 plus or minus, and here, since we're trying to get the square root, we're trying to get pairs, so I have a pair of 2 right there. I'm going to have 1, 2 outside of the radical. Here I have another pair of 2, that gives me another 2 outside of the radical, and the things that I'm not able to pair up, they're going to be underneath the radical. So here I get 2 times 17, and then that's all going to be divided by negative 20. And this will simplify to x equal to 8 plus or minus 2 times 2 is 4, and then 2 times 17 is 34. Okay, so now here's what I'm going to do. Notice that the 8 and the 4, they have a greatest common factor of 4, so I'm going to factor out that 4. And that's going to leave me with a 2 plus or minus 1 radical 34. And then for the denominator, we still have that negative 20. And now I can reduce the 4 and the negative 20. So that's just going to reduce to 1 over negative 5. So I get as my final solution. And here I'll put the negative with the numerator. So I'll get that x is equal to negative 2 plus or minus root 34 all over 5. And notice that when I put the negative with the numerator, it should distribute to the radical 34, but it won't matter. You'll still have plus or minus. So there we go.